So let's talk about loose leash walking. Loose leash walking is one of those skills that's actually quite advanced for any of our dogs. But because there's leash laws, they have to know it. They have to know it once they're born, they have to know it the first day in your home. So when we're talking about leashes, I want you to think about 6 foot or 4 foot leash, not a flexible leash. Flexible leash, really the one, when I say flexible, I mean the kind that kind of strings out. There's a lot of issues with it, but as far as training is concerned, it doesn't help you out with training at all. If anything, it gives the dog too much distance too soon. Get your shorter leashes. I want you to put your leash in your hand. I want you to kind of hook it in your thumb, and hooking it in your thumb just allows you to accordion it in your hand. So that when I hold it, I want you to notice my elbow is tucked into my ribs and my hand is somewhere near my belt buckle. So I'm holding the leash in slack, but it's also short, giving the dog very specific feedback that there's very little choices but to walk with me. Okay? I'll show that one more time. I'm gonna hook it into my thumb. I'm just gonna accordion it, and I'm gonna keep my elbow tucked into my ribs, and then my hand rests at my belt buckle. Okay? If I am in training mode, my dog is on the side closest to where the food is located, meaning I treat from my right hand. I'm right-handed, I'm way more flexible. So now I'm gonna bring my dog, here bud, over to this side, so that my leash is now in this hand, and my dog is on the side closest to where my treats are being delivered. Okay. If you notice, I don't have them switched, otherwise I would be crossing my body. And what tends to happen when you cross the body is the dog cuts off in front of you. So make it easy for yourself. Elbows in, at your belt buckle, dog getting reinforced on the side. Holding the leash is really a critical first step. If you're not holding the leash properly, then the communication with your dog starts to wane, and you haven't even left the house. Loose leash walking, the tone is set in the house. Does your dog jump, 10 feet in the air, excited for go for a walk? Do you rile them up by going, who's walking? You wanna go for a walk? You wanna go for a walk? Don't get your dog excited. Get them excited after they're already outside. Really, you want them to be able to have a lower level of arousal so that when you get outside, which is frankly very exciting, you actually feel like you have some control over them. Once I have the dog, the leash in the right hand and the dog on the proper side, I want you to get your dog into starting position. Starting position is with your dog in a side sit by the side that you want to be training on. I do not care if it's the right side or the left side, so you pick, but be consistent. I'm gonna pick the right side for Jack today. So Jack is going to follow my food lure. He's gonna turn around. Notice my feet finally come together, and then I ask for that sit. He gets to eat. We are both now faced the same direction to go on our walk. My leash is slack, but my elbow is in, and my hand is at my belt buckle. Jack is off to the side, so he's not gonna trip me up. I'll do that a few more times for you. Ready, handsome? The dog can start in front. You feed, you walk backwards, you walk forward, and you ask for a sit. Good boy. Dog starts in front. Make sure you have their attention. Bring them backwards. Get it, Jack. Bring it forward. You got it, buddy. Ask for a sit, and yes. If your dog doesn't sit really well, I'm okay with feeding just for them getting into position. So troubleshoot. Dog's not sitting very well. Come on, Jack, go get it. Go get it. Then I would feed right here. Yes, good boy. Don't even bother asking for the sit because they are in position. Good boy. Sit. Yes. So now we have our starting position, and I want you to think about this position or this side sit as the position that you're going to get in before you start your walk, when you end your walk, and if you are ever releasing your dog to go potty, sniff a shrub, or just have some free time, you put them in this position. So this is sort of like an intermediate position all the way through the walk. The dog starts to learn that they have to continue to pay attention with you throughout the walk. Okay. Good boy. Good job. So next we're going to practice moving, because frankly the whole walk is about moving with your dog. And in this introductory video, what I want you to learn is rewarding your dog for a few key steps that they give you. I want you to reward your dog for them knowing their name and responding to it. I want you to reward your dog if the leash is slack and they're not pulling. I want you to reward your dog if they are anywhere a 3-foot bubble. We're going to call this the happy bubble. When they're in the bubble, you feed. Being a predictable reinforcer when they're in this space is how they start to learn to be right next to your side. So those are the few steps that I want you to remember to reinforce. What I don't want you to, the trap I want you to avoid is to wait until they pull to then call their name. Wait until they pull, get into the shrub that they're pulling towards, only to pull them back. Dogs actually give us a lot of fantastic behavior all the time, and we tend to ignore it. We wait until they're bad, or they give us something we don't want, and then we speak to them or tell them no or ask for some behavior. In this case, you are, for every heel strike that you like your dog doing something, I want you to reinforce. So let me demonstrate a few repetitions for you. Come on, check. Yes. Sit. Yes. Good boy. Let's walk. Yes. Good job. He's right next to me. Yes. Good job. Yeah. I have a slack leash. He's right next to me. He's doing really well. There's no reason I couldn't have reinforced 10 times. You will find that you reinforce heavily on walks. Make sure you have a huge treat pouch full of food. And this is how I want you to think about it. If you come back to the house with your treat pouch still full of food, then it wasn't a very good walk. You want to come back with a full dog and an empty treat pouch. And frankly, a full dog is a happy dog. Let's do a couple more reps. Okay? Here, bud. Good boy. Yeah, good job. Let's walk. Oh, yes. Good job, Jack. Let him eat the cheese. Come on. Good boy. We're walking. Yes, good boy. Come on. Pick it up. Pick it up. We're going all day. Oh, boy. Ready? Let's walk. Yes. Good boy. Yes. Good job. But Jack clearly has a pretty good walk. So what I want you to think about is, now I'm not going to reward for every step that I take. Maybe I'll reward after 5 steps. And so what you'll build up to is maybe 1 treat for the whole block, 1 treat after 5 blocks, but you'll still treat. I still want there to be a reinforcer. Good boy. Good boy, let's walk. Oh, that's a good boy. Yes! Good boy. Nice. Leash walking can be frustrating. It can be kind of tiresome that your dog is always wanting to pull in this direction and that direction. So your whole walk isn't leash training. I want you to think about that light post to that light post, or that driveway to 2 driveways away. Find yourself a little landmark, and I want you to train between them. After you've finished hitting that landmark, I want you to release your dog. You take the end of the leash in your hand and say, okay, all done. And that means the dog is free to go about, sniff, and pee as he wants. But when it's time to start walking and training again, you're gonna try to get your dog, come on. When it's time for training again, you're gonna make sure that your dog knows to get into the position to mean, we're here, great, let's walk together. And that's how you start good leash manners.